Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Dammer's Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy, Devil here, and welcome to a training match featuring the Dwarfs versus Skaven, me versus my coach, Oroka boss, and I said I was going to put some of these matches on the channel so you guys could see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I really wanted to put this. I'm going to try and put most of them up. I don't know if I saved every single replay, but we're playing on sort of just a flat map. It's very big, but after I went through my training sessions with a Oroka boss, those are training sessions 1 and 2 with the Skaven, and I really played his Skaven build with 4 Warplock Jezzails. I mean, I was crushing every dwarf army. I think I played against 4 dwarf armies with the Skaven with that Jezzail build and demolished every army. And I started thinking about how could I counter these Jezzails, and I can always hear a Oroka boss saying, have a goal in mind, think about your armies and really try and have a plan. So this was my plan to counter Warplock Jezzails. Now, obviously, a Oroka boss and we didn't know exactly what the armies would be, but I asked him to play a Warplock Jezzail heavy army. Now, this is not the precise army we had in the training. He actually has improved it by quite a bit. By adding the Dwarf Things Menace Doomflayers here and just regular Doomflayers on here, and adding a bunch of Skaven slaves, and then he only has 3 Warplock Jezzails, and then for his leadership is the same thing as Lord Skrulk with the summons, and he has the Plague Priest with no spells just for that Mortis Engine effect, and he has 2 sort of Storm Vermin with shields sort of in the background and Clan Rats in the front. Now, the idea of this army in order to counter Warplock Jezzails is this. So what I have is I have just 1 unit of miners, and these are not miners with blasting charges, and they are to mark approximately 300 meters. And you can see my cannons go out to here, about 440. My cannons and I have the Goblobber, Grudge Thrower, and 2 cannons. The idea is that I want to set this line, because like every time I play with these Warplock Jezzails, I just bring them in and just obliterate Dowie artillery, and their Dowie artillery is useless. So the idea was to set up my army 300 meters out so that the Warplock Jezzails can't get to me, but I can get to them. So that's the idea of this build. So in behind the second line, I do have 4 miners with blasting charges, because their blasting charges can take out a group of Clan Rats. They're very, very strong. And then my second line of defense, I have 5 Longbeards. Longbeards are very good in this matchup. They're not great against Doomflayers, but they can hold their own for quite some time. They're good against all based Skaven infantry. In the back line, so for my leader, I do have Bellegar Ironhammer. Now, he's really cheap at 1100 gold, has great stats, amazing leadership. Has 98 leadership just walking around, 60 melee attack, 55 melee defense. He does not have armor piercing, so that's not that great, but he does have charge defense against all. He also is he's just a good overall cheap general, and he has a silver shield. So even if the Warplock Jezzails focus him, they have the shield breaker. They can only take away half his shield, so he'll still have 25% missile resist. And for the back line, so what I wanted to do, I really want these cannons to operate. Now, I need to be able to defend against Death Runners, against Doom Flayers, Doom Wheels, anything to get in the back. So the idea of this is I have 3 Longbeards with great weapons. They're cheap at 750, and they have a lot of mass. They're 200 mass per unit, and they can deal reasonably well with Doom Flayers, and they can sort of help support the back line. And I have 3 Dwarf Warriors. They're not going to kill much anything, but they can deal with Skaven slaves and Clan Rats if they get in the back, and they can hold up Death Runners. Now, so we are going to start playing this replay and really show how this is going. This is a training match. Really, I knew the concept of this Skaven army because I had been using it for a couple of weeks already, and I asked Oroka boss, "Can we play this matchup? I want to try out an idea." So he said, "Yep," and brought this army. So here we go. Really, I'm just looking over his army right now. I have been really trying to take the time, based on my training, to look over his army, and I just push forward a little bit. I just want to move forward about 30 meters, and I can see his Jezzails end here. So I want to go, and I have just a group of miners, not miners with blasting charges, because I don't care if he just shoots some I know Oroka Boss says never give anything away for free, but it's not. If you waste Warplock Giselle armor ammo on a miners, I'm fine with that, because you know they break through shields anyway, so having shields up there doesn't matter. So really, I'm just moving my army into position, and now he's like, I've moved forward, and as soon as his clan rats are in, I'm okay with shooting. You know, you hardly ever use up all of your ammo with your cannons. He is going to get in my back line. I mean, Oroka Boss is one of the best players in the world. He's going to be able to get in my back line, so I might as well take some shots on these clan rats. They're free, and I have lots of ammo. I'm not going to use all my ammo anyways. So really, I have marked that 300 meters, and you can see the Warplock Giselles are now up to here with their things. And so what I want to do is I want to bring the rest of my troops sort of up into this. So I just want to push them up a little bit so I can see I've marked his army. I don't know if he has death runners at this point, but I have lots of defenses back here. So this is my defensive pocket. This is what I'm pushing out to create that 300 meter space. So really, I've just pushed out again. I can see he's getting closer. I don't mark it exactly perfect, but he's still a long ways out from my artillery. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, I want to start to get my miners with blasting charges in. I want to start getting those blasting. And he's like, you know, this Oroka Boss, he's so good. He's like, he sees I'm going to do this with my blasting charges, so he runs this guy away, and he runs these Skaven slaves in to muck me up. I am going to get my blasting charges off on these clan rats. He is trying to get out of the way, you know, so I'm doing my best to sort of get blasting charges off. But you can see, so he didn't work out my trick yet. So you'll see how this sort of works out. So I am pushing up my line, trying to get my blasting charges off, really trying to reestablish my line at 300 meters. So you can see what's happened. He right now for sure has my cannons targeted and my artillery, because he wants to get rid of them. I mean, like, he knows that's going to happen. So my miners with blasting charges are going to go off here. Now I haven't quite marked 300 meters perfectly, but not too bad, because here's the miners, here's these Warplock Giselles, and they are just getting into range. If I had moved them about another, you know, maybe this much further, and I'd really been a little more aggressive, it's not too bad. But I had all my cannons and my Goblobber shooting in at this Warplock Giselle, and you can see he's almost ready to rout. So he's kind of going in here ready to rout. Now he's close enough to take some shots. Unfortunately, I haven't pushed quite far enough ahead, but you can see this is really close. Really, really close for actual 300 meters mark. I see that, oh, he's got these Warplock Giselles in. I got to get rid of these Skaven slaves. I'm going to push my miners in, and I got to really push up and try to push these guys back. And I've already routed these Warplock Giselles because I've had everything shooting on them. I see he's actually bringing these Doom players out to the side like that. So like a dummy, I just shoot at them, you know, because I don't know why. But you can see these Warplock Giselles have finally got into position to shoot, and they're a little bit too far because they're actually shooting in at this far cannon because he just wants to focus fire at this cannon, and my Longbeards are just going to get right into them. Now, he's obviously microing out here because he wants to bring these guys wide. He wants to get some rear charges out here, and he's got some things to do, but he's very quickly going to notice that he's sort of in a bad situation there. But, you know, I've got my cannons shooting over here. It's just for some, it's a really bad idea, but I just do. And he's getting some more shots in here, but I have routed these guys, and now I can push into this front line, into these Warplock Giselles. I've got the Stormvermin and the Longbeards. That is just fine for me. And he's still getting a few shots on my cannon. He's got one of my cannons, but my cannons now, I'm going to refocus. I'm going to take these cannons, shoot at his bell wagon there, on the Plague Priest has. We got the Plague Priest, it's like a Mortis engine, I know that, I understand his build, and you can see now it's time to push out and try and at least slow this Doomflayer, and I'm coming back with these guys. I really want to try and do my best to create a proper line here against the Dwarf Thing Menace, and I've got these guys ready to respond on this side, and I just still have my Dwarf Warriors which can go either way. So I've got the Goblobber is on the wrong target, but I've got the cannon on the right target. I've got this cannon on these Dwarf Things Menace. I really want to put the Goblobber on his Warplock Giselles. So now I have firmly established that front line, 300 meters out. You can see he's got these Warplock Giselles. They're actually going the wrong way. He's trying to get them back because he's worked out now. Okay, he's kind of like Oroka Boss is really, really good. So he worked out, okay, this is what's happening. So he's changed his plan. This is where I actually fail all the time, because I can make a plan and execute it, not too bad, but if things change, I have a really hard time changing. So Oroka Boss doesn't. He's like, okay, I cannot get the cannon, so I'm going to bring my unit back, and then I'm going to figure out what I can get. He has these Warp Block Jezzails, these Warp Block Jezzails, and now he's actually going to try and bring these guys back, but he has to do something about these miners blasting charges. So he's worked that out, so he's trying to sort of get in here, and he's going to bring these Doomflayers up as well. But I still actually have lots of decent defenses up here, and nothing is really poured through the middle into my build yet. So he wants to get some charges off, free charges on the Dwarf Warriors. I mean, they're really there to slow things down. I do want to get some damage on that Doomflayer. I have my cannon still going at the right target. A Grudge Thrower, I still haven't changed target. I have this cannon going after the Doomflayer. I really should put it onto that Plague Priest. Really, focus fire is very, very important in this game. So now I have put the Goblobber on the right target. So I want my Goblobber onto these Warp Block Jezzails. He's trying to find another place, so we got some going in. Boom. Lowers their leadership by a ton, gets some damage done, and he sort of punched a bit of a hole so he can make a new firing line. But I'm back on these guys, and I have everything targeted on them. I just want to keep shooting, and he's trying to, like, he has got these guys through, these clan rats through, and he's got some summons, and he's used his full forces to create himself sort of a corridor to walk through up in here. But I've gone on these Warp Block Jezzails, and these guys are caught by the Longbeards. I'm still actually in pretty decent shape, and he's gone for a rear charge over here with this Dwarf Thing Menace. He wants to get these guys going. I've chased them out with the Dwarf Warriors. I still have a decent enough side. I've got these Longbeards. I've had to go and stop the clan rats. Now these guys who are routed, these miners with blasting charges, are coming back, so they can actually get their blasting charges into the back of the clan rats, which is going to be really great. I do not want these clan rats getting to my line, so I'm really trying to push in here and collapse in and slow them down. And I'm trying to get my Longbeards with great weapons here, and here comes a summon, here comes the Bellwagon, here comes Skrolk. I have Belgar Ironhammer in this back line, and really, I have actually got this miner's got through, and I'm just going to chase with this miner all day against the Jezzails. I don't want them to come back. Now, I do notice this guy's coming back, and immediately I target those Warp Block Jezzails with my Goblobber. I've got my cannons elsewhere. I've got my cannons focused on this Bellwagon, and I really want to get as many shots as I can. He is getting through. He's force pathing these freaking clan rats through onto my cannon. And then in are coming these Doomflayers. He's force passing them through. I do see that, and what I'm going to do is detach this cannon, take one more shot. I'm going to detach them and send them this way, and try and get them out of, and try to get them out of harm's way. There we go. I'm detaching. I've got the Dwarf Warriors and Belagar Ironhammer, and he's just bringing in this Plague Priest on this cannon. I can't do it fast enough. I'm still taking shots at these guys, and you can see I've routed them again. And I do have some of my line is actually out here in really decent shape. I'm still pushing up here with my miners, but now he's really collapsing in, and he's going after my cannons hard. He wants to get rid of these guys completely. I have got these cannons out. I'm saving them. I'm trying to get my Doomflayer. I'm trying to get his Doomflayers with my Dwarf Warriors and Belagar Ironhammer. Belagar Ironhammer does a ton of damage. I've resolved this side. He does have some clan rats that are over here, but I can bring these guys back to try and help. I'm bringing these guys back to try and help, but you can see he's absolutely obliterating my cannon, and now he's bringing the summons and his Dwarf Thing Menace up into my Plague Priest, or my Goblobber, and I can't react fast enough. I mean, all these things are faster. Like this Plague Priest is 42, the Doom Wheels are like 72, so I am trying to collapse back in and slow all this stuff down. Now, I am desperately trying to save my cannon. You can see I'm moving my cannon out. I'm trying to find a home for them, so they're not going to get obliterated, and he is absolutely demolishing my Goblobber and has shattered it. You know, these cannons might come back. My Goblobber's gone. He's going to put down Wither for the minus 30 armor so he can get his clan rats working. And, you know, in this pocket, there's just sort of a desperate fight right now. Now, unfortunately, I did miss this Longbeards, and he's chasing out. I do not want that. I've got these Longbeards. I saw that I was routing over here, and the Storm Vermin needed to be dealt with. I got these Storm Vermin here dealing with these Longbeards. These Longbeards are dealing with a pocket sort of up here, so I'm okay with sort of that. He's going to come in here. I am going to see that. I'm like, okay, well, I can actually send my Dwarf Warriors out this way and deal with everything over here. And I've got over here I have dealt with his summons. I've saved my cannons. I've got Longbeards, great weapons. Now it's time to bring Belagar Ironhammer to bear over here. I've got Dwarf Warriors, and he's got everything in here. He's really trying to just get after my Longbeards. My Longbeards with great weapons will get some work done. I've got Belagar Ironhammer in there. These Longbeards with great weapons. And now, I mean, you can see I'm taking my cannon. I'm like, wow, maybe I'll go this way. And then I'm look, and this sort of all clears up. So I'm actually going to take my cannons, and I'm going to push them back in. There you go. And now I'm going to get them on. So also, I clear this out, so I'm like, okay, I got to create a new battle line, so I put these guys here so that I can get my cannons on and shoot into this stuff. Meanwhile, everything in here is fighting. I got a reasonable army. I mean, I haven't really taken this Plague Priest down. I haven't done some great job on the great damage on his Dwarfling Menace and his Doomflayers, you know, and he's, you know, like, he's got to sort of, I'm like to really care trying to get away from those damn things because I want my cannon to go, and I'm still chasing over here with the miners with blasting charges. Now I'm chasing into these Warplock Jezzails. I can chase them all day. Unfortunately, these Longbeards, I mean, oh yeah, there's more Warplock Jezzails, so I'm gonna actually chase them off. I just want to keep these guys going. I have finally noticed these guys, and I'm bringing them back. Now I'm getting my cannons on. I really want to make a new battle line. I see this over here, and you can see I'm going to make a new battle line so I can shoot with my cannon. I know my Dwarf Warrior is going to handle that over here, because I want to get onto that Plague Priest. So he's trying to get his Plague Priest out. He's trying to use these guys. He wants to actually get his Storm Vermin into the battle, so he's going to take his Doomflayers over here. This allows my cannons to get back online, and I'm going to start shooting into his Plague Priest right away, and create, like I said, create the second battle line so I can just shoot whatever I want to shoot out of with my cannon. I've got this Plague Priest targeted, and really he's at 1459 health. One shot. Let's see. Come on, hit him, boys. Hit him, boys. Hit him, boys. Let's go. He's at 1200 health. There you go. So, and here's what Skrulk is so good at. I try to stop Skrulk and stay so he can't summon something onto my cannon, and he summons something right behind me. Like, ah, crap. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try and save this cannon. I need to take one more shot onto this Plague Priest, and then there we go. And then I'm going to try and get this cannon the heck out of dodge. But these guys are 37 speed. The cannons are 20. Well, they're about 28. And so I'm just not going to be able to run away. I have pushed everything off of my Dwarf Warriors, but he actually came here and he was able to get a Storm Vermin in. So he's actually pulling in what he can here. And we're all collapsing back down, with the exception of these miners with blasting charges. These miners with blasting charges, I just want to fight these Warplock Jezzails. They're going to do fine, and I'm going to keep that fight out there. I am trying to bring back my troops to try and deal with this stuff. But you can see, he's like bringing in his Doomflayers. We're all working together to try and get my Longbeards and Dwarf Warriors one at a time, and I'm sort of running around. I want to get Skrulk, but I have been able to at least route his Plague Priest. So his Plague Priest is going to be coming back, but I have been able to route it. I'm really trying to push on Skrulk, the Plague Priest, and the Doom Wheels, but he keeps getting the summons, and now he's going to bring Skrulk over here because he wants to get this stuff. And I see the Plague Priest coming back, so I'm like, okay, I just need to send my Longbeards after this. I want to really try and get that thing down. He's like, nope, I want to try and stop your Longbeard, so he's going to try and fight this out here and quickly route my Longbeards. I'm going to keep going after this Plague Priest, and really, I'm going to try to keep bringing my troops in. I still have these Dwarf Warriors. These miners. I want to chase off there, but I want to go after that Plague Priest. I really want to get that thing down and finish. So he's got 88 health left. I just need just a little bit more damage to get this thing out. I've got the Longbeards with great weapons could do a number on this thing. They really can. You know, because they are armor piercing, and they got enough damage to do. He's down to 33 health. I got more. These are all Longbeards with great weapons. These are not what this thing wants to be fighting. And you can see I am getting, so there we go, and boom. Absolutely demolish it. It is gone now. Now really there's 2 Doomflayers and Skrulk left. I am bringing some troops back here, but it's just so hard to pin anything down. And I want to get rid of these frickin' Storm Vermin, because these Storm Vermin are very good at the end of the game because they have high leadership. So I've got Longbeards over here with great weapons. I got my other Longbeards. I really want to get onto these Dwarfling Menace and the Doomflayers. I need to finish off this frickin' Storm Vermin. So I've got my Dwarf Warriors over here, and I am still chasing over here. These guys now are shattered. I'm going to notice that at some point, but I really want to finish off the Storm Vermin. But meanwhile, he's taking this opportunity to get rid of all my Longbeards with great weapons. This is the only thing that is a really threat to the Dwarfling Menace and the Doomflayers. And you can see, I mean, they're down to 700 health, but now the basic Longbeards really are no threat. So I have managed to shatter these Skaven slaves. I've still come in. I want to come in for a rear charge, but I mean, dwarfs don't run really fast, so rear charges aren't really there. And I do finally rout these guys, but I get charged in the back by the Dwarf Thing Menace and the Doom Flayers. I am bringing my Longbeards. I really want to sort of create a pocket so I can try and at least fight with everybody there. These Dwarf Warriors have rallied, but they're actually going to rout again. These guys have rallied, Longbeards with great weapons. I'm like, okay, I can take on these guys. If I get a charge, you get a boost in your morale, so I can come in and fight these clan rats. He's actually trying to get out and come in because you keep getting a boost with morale when you charge. I've got all my units over here, and if trying to fight this storm vermin with sword and shield, like you got to get rid of these guys because they are just so tanky, and they stop you from actually dealing with what you want to deal with. So these Longbeards are actually beating up the clan rats, which is what they should do. I am bringing everything in here, and he's just coming in for the charges, and he really wants to get things going and charge all of my units. So he's going to come in and charge these Longbeards. Boom, comes in, gets a charge off with his Dwarf Thing Menace and his Doom Flayers. I'm going to try and collapse in on the Storm Vermin with Sword and Shield because I want to get rid of them. I am bringing back, I've chased these guys off, I'm bringing back my Miners with Blasting Charges, and now I'm going to bring back these Longbeards, but you can see he's kind of coming in here, and everything here is wavering. Like we are encouraged, but everything is wavering. So I've got these Longbeards are trying to come after Skrulk, and he's just going to bring these guys out and try and get rid of these Longbeards one at a time. Unfortunately, these Dwarf Warriors break. These Longbeards with great weapons are in really bad shape, and they break. And I still haven't got rid of these frickin' Storm Vermin. They're so tanky at the end of the game. All I have left is my Dwarf Warriors and my Longbeards and Belegar Ironhammer, and I finally break these guys. So now they're gone, but basically 5 units of my armies have gone, and then he gets a summon. Just at the worst possible time, he gets a summon, and he can come in here and fight my Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards, and he charges in with his Dwarf Thing Menace, and I'm way out here with these guys, and these guys, I got 3 important units that are all routing out of the way. I've got nothing with armor piercing, and he routs off my Longbeards. So both my Longbeards and Dwarf Warriors are going to rout. It's only Belegar Ironhammer left right now, and these Miners that are way out here. So I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go and try and get Skrulk. So he's going to run away with Skrulk because Skrulk is a coward. So I cannot catch him because I'm a dwarf, and but at least I'm running away from these clan rats because these are summons. So the less they can fight, the better. But he's going to take the time because he's a solid player. He's just going to escort these guys off, make sure they don't go, and he's going to run away. He just wants his clan rats can catch Belegar. Belegar cannot catch Skrulk. No reason to fight him. He can take the time and beat up my Dwarf Warriors, beat up my Longbeards, and I can't catch him. So what am I going to do? He has 769 health with Lord Skrulk, and the summons disappear. And really, I just have these Miners over here. So what I thought is like, frick, I don't want him to terror out my Miners, so I'm going to send my Miners away. They're in good leadership. I just want to send them away so Belegar can fight, and then I notice these guys, and at some point I'm going to say, okay, these guys, if I can rally them, I'm going to be good. So I'm actually going to send my Miners to try and intercept these guys somewhere up in here so I can try and rally them and just fight over here with Belegar Ironhammer. Because every shot Belegar gets in, and these guys have 740 health, 760 health. He just needs to get shots in. That's it. 502 health. One shot. These guys have rallied Longbeards, but they're going to, there's no way to get to them, right? Because there they go, and they have actually absolutely shattered. These Doom Flayers are over here, but I just need one shot after one shot. I just need to keep getting in shots with Belegar. And so he's chasing down Skrulk. These guys are wavering. These Doom Flayers are wavering. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go this way towards where my troops are, and I'm trying to get these guys together. And, he's just going to cycle charge me, right? So I'm going to try and get a shot in. So he's going to move away, and he's going to try and shoot me from the back. These guys have 500 health left. These guys have 675. Excuse me, but he pushes me down. He keeps knocking me over. It's really irritating. 675 health for these Doom Flayers, and then boom, killed the Doom Flayer with Belegar. Awesome. And these guys have 420 health left, and they rout. I just want to keep getting one shot at a time with Belegar. And I still have these guys over here. Like they're still. I'm trying to get these Dwarf Miners to help rally these guys, but I got a shot in with Belegar on these guys. He got 420 health left. I really just want to keep on fighting, and he's going to come in here, and I do a jumping flying headbutt, but he knocks me down. But there's a Skrulk in here, and these guys have 500 health. Skrulk has 769 health. I just need to get a shot in here. Really, I just need to hit anything. Boom, miss. 500 health, 700 health. Come on, Belegar. Come on, Belegar. Hit him. Boom. 500 health, 700 health. I missed again. So I'm just getting beat down here. I just need one shot. Boom, hit him. 220 health. Excellent. You can see, and then that Dwarf Thing Menace routes, and now it's just Skrull. Skrull has 769 health, and Belagar Ironhammer can win this. It is possible for him to win this. Boom, he hits him. 385 health. Boom. Hits him again, and that's it. Oh my god, that was so intense. So, yes, it was a training match. Yes, I knew the concept of Oroka Boss's army, but it's really fun when an idea works. And, you know, and I know from having played my coach, Oroka Boss, if I brought this army against him again ever, the next army he would bring would be impossible for this army to beat. I mean, I actually have had that experience, and I'll show a couple of games later on the channel where he does exactly that, which is really interesting when you watch sort of the players at the highest level think their way through matchups, and not just matchups, but specifically against other players, because they'll never play the same player the same exact way twice. You know, they're going to think their way and be ready for next time. But we'll go over this because I think this is an important game, because Oroka Boss really is an amazing player. Yes, I did know the battle, but the Skaven have a big advantage in this, and you can see Doomflayers, 180 kills, 135 kills, but really where this build did what it was supposed to do, 2, 10, and 49 with the Warplock Jezzails. Yes, he eventually did get all of my artillery, but he had to get all the way back, and my artillery got some work done. So 800, 800, and 900. His was 800, 800, 800. I mean, and I did a good job against his Plague Priest. Did I win that battle? I think I did. Not by a massive amount, but I really... the concept I wanted to show you guys is creating that space. I'm sure some of you already know this. I mean, this is no news to... And there's some really great players that watch the channel. This is not any news to you guys. But it's something... It's news to me in terms of how I play and how I think as a dwarf. And this is something... I'm going to go over the end place, but I do want to talk about this a little bit because I am learning a lot and learning really fast from Oroka Boss. You know, he constantly says, have a goal in mind, think about your match. And playing both sides of this match has really improved my Dowie thinking, I think. My ability to think about this match, because I've played against Dowie on ladder as the Skaven and done really, really well with these Jezzails. Now, I still don't have the perfect answer for Doomflayers. This build could obviously be improved. But anyways, we'll go through it. 48 with Belagar Ironhammer, and he was awesome. You saw the end of the game. Belagar Ironhammer is solid. Is he the best Lord in this matchup? Still probably not. Is still probably your basic Rune Lord with the Runesmith combo. That's a very, very powerful combo. But Belagar didn't do too bad. 1 unit of miners, and that was very specifically brought with no blasting charges because I just wanted to use them to Vanguard deploy and mark 300 meters. So I kind of knew where it was. I didn't mind losing them. And then the miners with blasting, but they still got 21 kills. Like, that's not bad. Like, for a group of miners, I know they're slaves, but it is not bad. The miners with blasting charges, 42, 54, 60, and 108. Like, I know, I get it, they're slaves, but that's still not too bad. 85, 16, and 19 with the Dwarf Warriors. They were backline defense. 20, 89, 133, 34, and 119 with the Longbeards. I think they did really well in the front line, and they really faded in the end against those Doomflayers. Those Doomflayers are so good. 125, 27, and 18 with the Longbeards, the Great Weapons. Now, those Longbeards, the Great Weapon, did more work than you might think. They did the lion's share of the heavy lifting against the Doomflayers. They really did. And they did some good work against that Plague Priest. And they helped fill up the lines. 26, 49, 38 with the 2 cannons and the Goblobber. Now, interestingly enough, this is the combination I had in mind because I wanted to use the Goblobber to continuously route these guys. But you can actually use sort of 4 bolt throwers or 5 bolt throwers in the back line for the same price. And they would do good, and bolt throwers do have 340 range. The Warplock Jezzails do only have 300. So you could use that same idea, although you don't have as much room for error in terms of how you position your troops. And you know, if he gets around the back, you know, there's just a smaller gap and a shorter distance to go, but you can do it. So for the Skaven army, 25 for Skrull, 77 for the Plague Priest. And that Plague Priest, you know, could have easily got well over 100. We did focus him enough. 34, 34, and 11 with the Skaven Slaves, which is pretty amazing for units that are 125 gold, to be perfectly honest. The clan rats 4, 76, 38, 43, and 10. Again, a very efficient unit. Really, these storm vermin with sword and shield, you could just see how disruptive they were in my backline at the end of that game. 133 and 115. They actually really performed well. And then 210 and 49 on the Jezzails, and we know we really did have a goal in mind, and we executed reasonably. The Doomflayers, though, 180 and 135. These things are ridiculous still. They are really difficult to deal with. Not that they can't be dealt with. They certainly can. But you sort of end up, if you bring an anti-Doomflayer build, then you're really susceptible to Jezzails. If you bring an anti-Jezzail build, you're susceptible to Doomflayers. You have to sort of pick your poison. Now, there might end up being a dwarf build out there that works good against Doomflayers and again against Warplock Jezzails. I don't know what it'll be, but it's possible that it will be. Maybe 6 bolt throwers would, in that back line where you do 100%. But bolt throwers don't take out Doomflayers. They can't hit them. That's the problem. But they do good against Warplock Jezzails. But anyways, considering that the games, if you've been watching the channel, you saw the games I played with Oroka Boss's Jezzail build and how badly I crushed the dwarf builds that I faced, just using, take all 4 of my Jezzails, kill one of his cannons, then kill the next cannon, then kill the other artillery. And you saw yesterday in Glorious Feeder's game with the Natty Bubo sharpshooters, really, as soon as they were able to snipe out his artillery, from a hidden spot. But the thing is, this concept still works against Natty Bubos. Natty Bubos only have 300 range. It's not like they can come to the front line and get you. Now, they can go really wide. It's just going to take them a very long time to do that. And then they're going to sort of be caught out. And you saw that's a pretty wide line. Now, not every map allows you to deploy like that. But at least it's a very interesting way to do it. So I would absolutely love to hear from you guys. I know I have a lot of people who really enjoy theory crafting and talking about matchups and ideas and concepts. And, have you used that concept of creating a little bit of space for your artillery to work like that? That's the first time I've done it, and now I'm actually really happy because you can actually do the same thing with, any ranged unit. To be perfectly honest, create enough space so that other ranged units can't get to them, which depends on where you put them in the front line. So I really enjoyed that game, and it is nice to test ideas. I mean, even though I sort of knew what Oroka Boss's army would be, I mean, it is nice to test against players who are really good. And you saw he did adjust once he sort of figured out what my plan was. That's sort of the next level, that I don't really have that capability. I can sort of figure out my plan, but I can't figure out my opponent's plan until it's too late. And what I mean is usually until I'm looking at the replay, and then it's far too late. Anyways, love to hear from you in the comments down below. I always ask for comments because I really do enjoy them. If you're going to come in and talk about builds or ideas or this concept, or maybe I know there's some history buffs in the channel that really have talked about formations before, and the idea of creating space like this on the battlefield. I would actually love to hear from you guys, or if you're just dropping by to say hi, love that too. So with that said, I hope you found this game interesting, and I'll see you soon.